For latest astrology videos, subscribe AstroEdify channel and press this bell icon to get notified when a new video goes live.
Hello everybody, welcome to AstroEdify. Today we are going to discuss what happens when Saturn is in the sign of Aries in anybody's horoscope. So let's start this video. If you want to book a consultation for yourself, you can go on this website. The link is given in the description. So we are going to talk about Saturn in Aries today. First of all, let's discuss what Saturn is, what it controls and represents in Jyotish. See, Saturn is a planet of crude practicality and ultimate true reality. Now, the nature of reality, it could be materialistic also, it could be spiritual also. It depends solely on the yogas happening in the chart of the person. So it depends upon the placement of moon, Lagna Lord means the ascendant Lord, or Jupiter, and that is why I have repeated in my previous videos that most important planets which are the deciding factors of the horoscope, which control our behavior, personality, thinking and mindset, they are moon, ascendant Lord, Mercury and Jupiter. So you have to see the placement of those first, then you have to come on to the other combinations made by other planets. So Saturn is a quite relevant and important planet in our life, but it functions under the domain of those superior planets which decide our basic nature and characteristics. So Saturn here symbolizes crude practicality and true reality, and it could be spiritual also in nature, it could be materialistic also in nature. Saturn is a planet of actions. It is a karma karak planet. So Mars and Saturn are two planets which give the results based upon the actions of the person. They are action oriented planets rather than depending only on the luck. So they are not bhagya oriented, they are action oriented, karma karak planet. Next thing here is that Saturn is a natural significator of several qualities. Like it is first of all, it is a planet which is very slow in nature, is slow in speed, very slow. So it changes the zodiac sign every 2.5 years. So Saturn is a quite slow moving planet, due to which it shows patience, delay, discipline, organization, hard work, labor, persistency. No matter what, the person is not going to back down. That kind of quality, persistent attitude, is governed by Saturn and along with Mars. Second, after this, Saturn is the significator of our limitations and boundaries, struggles, separation, any kind of sorrows and griefs and failures in our life. So this does not mean that Saturn is a bad planet. No. The reason why Saturn generates delay, why it generates separation, struggle, limitations, failures, changes, sudden ups and downs, sorrows, miseries, grief, separation, these kind of negative results are generated by Saturn in our life because it has to motivate the person, or it always tries to motivate the person to see the true reality and become as practical as possible in life. Don't live in your dreams. Dreams are important, but if they are unrealistic in nature, if you have unrealistic dreams which are just wild imaginations and fantasies, then you have to come down here and live in the real world where things happen, but there are rules for them. And you do not get them easily. You have to work for them. You have to see that how the real life functions. So Saturn motivates the person, encourages him that if you are in such a mental state, come out of that. And the earlier you are going to come out, the better you are going to be in future. So that is why it generates these kind of negative aspects in our life in the form of struggles, limitations, boundaries, failures, any kind of sorrows. So and that is why it does not mean that it is a planet of failures which is going to give you failures all the time. No, Saturn is a very good planet if it is functioning very well in the horoscope, and if the dasha is appropriate, it gives quite good results, actually quite marvelous and excellent results in terms of material progress or spiritual progress. It gives quite a huge progress in life as well, but it depends how the horoscope is. Okay, so this is what Saturn shows. Apart from that, Saturn is along with Jupiter is also karak of philosophy and detachment, and the reason is that Saturn is a planet of separation. So separation from everything, separation from any kind of small thing in your life, to relations, to your job, to your precious things, to your any things which you find important in life, and this is what detachment is. Now whether that detachment is natural or whether Saturn is trying to impose it on you, that depends on the horoscope, but Saturn shows the separation. And separation, if it is natural, then it is known as a detachment. So Saturn is a controller of vairagya. Vairagya means a detachment. Then Saturn also is a planet of law implementation. So it implements the law, but it is not the planet which makes the law. The lawmaker is Jupiter. Saturn is just the planet to abide by the rules, regulations and laws made by the Jupiter. Okay, so that is why Jupiter is known as the Dharma Karak, Saturn is known as the Karma Karak. So Dharma Karak means the planet which makes our duties, our laws, our rules, our ideals, morals, ethics, principles, values, and Saturn is that planet which gives us that potential and ability to follow those rules, ideals, morals, ethics and principles in our life. Okay, then Saturn also controls the people who serve us in our life, like servants are there, or any persons, people who are your subordinates, for example at your workplace, they are seen through Saturn. Then with respect to current day and age in this Kali Yuga, Saturn is very important, because all the development which we see around us is impossible without Saturn. Why? Because Saturn controls all kind of science and technology throughout the world along with Mars. So here the science, technology, engineering, manufacturing, production, construction, infrastructure, oil, gas, iron, steel, research, all these things are controlled by coal. All these things are controlled by Saturn, and all the development which we see around this world, that has happened so far because of this control of Saturn along with other planets. Okay, another thing is, it is if we talk about our body, Saturn controls our bones, teeth, jaws, digestive system, gastrointestinal system, and feet. Okay, knees and feet, and any kind of diseases which are incurable in nature, which take a very long time to heal, or they never get healed anyway. So these kind of diseases also are ruled by Saturn in general. So this is what Saturn is. Okay, now let's talk about what is Aries. Aries is the natural zodiac sign of the first house. It is a fire sign, and it is ruled by Mars. So Mars, it has the what you can say mixed qualities of Mars, fire and the first house in it. So Aries is such a kind of fire. There are three fire signs: Aries, Leo and Sagittarius. But Aries is the most violent and unstable fire. There is no control over Aries, and that is why this is a very imbalanced sign. Apart from Scorpio, which is water, but it is quite different. We are not going to go that way today. But the main thing here is that this is such kind of fire which is highly unstable. There is no control over it. So it shows impulsiveness, impatience, indiscipline, disorganization, aggression, rage, anger, stubbornness. Although it also shows stamina, bodily energy, vitality, fighting and competitive spirit, willpower. It is a fast sign because Mars is a soldier. Mars likes to take risk, and Mars likes to take charges, and this is a Mool Trikona zodiac sign of Mars. So that is why it is a very bold, straightforward, committed and fast zodiac sign. This is also an action oriented sign. It believes more in working rather than speaking a lot. So here it believes more in performing the actions. So it is also an action oriented sign, but it also shows our ego and overconfidence. Okay, so this is what Aries is. now let's talk about what happens when Saturn goes into this sign. So people who are familiar with Vedic astrology, they know that Saturn in Aries is debilitated, means the sign of Aries is not good for Saturn. Here it loses the strength and it becomes niche in a Rashi. So niche Rashi means it gets debilitated. So if first of all, let's understand what is the main reason that Saturn is becoming debilitated in Aries only, not in other signs. Like Leo is also a sign of Sun, which is the biggest enemy of Saturn. Sun and Saturn are biggest enemies of each other. Mars comes second, but Sun is the topmost enemy of Saturn. So why not in the sign of Sun it is getting debilitated? Why it is getting debilitated in the sign of Aries? What is the reason? So first of all, and both of them, both of these signs are fire in nature. Both of these signs are the enemy signs for Saturn. Still, it is debilitated in Aries, not in Leo. Why? The reason is that, and one more interesting factor is that there are some similarities, some positive aspects in Aries which favor Saturn. Like Saturn is a planet of labor and actions. Aries is also a sign of action orientedness, energy, vitality, believing more in karma, means believing more in working, willpower. That is what Saturn also shows. Aries is also a sign of practicality, but not practicality per se, but mainly Aries is also a sign of scientific and logical temper, and Saturn is also such a kind of planet. Why still it is getting debilitated? The reason, only one reason is, actually the two reasons are there. First is that this is a fire sign which is unstable in nature, and second, there is what you can say, there is no control over it. So the thing here is that two main reasons due to which Saturn becomes debilitated is that the nature of Aries is totally reverse in some aspects, where Saturn feels very weak, and two qualities which give this are immaturity and impulsiveness of Aries. Saturn is a planet which is very slow in speed. Aries is a sign which is very fast in speed. So here Saturn feels very bogged down. It feels very uncomfortable, that it is in a sign where it is experiencing impracticality, immaturity and impulsiveness together. All of these things are just opposite in the nature of Saturn. If we compare the nature, it is just against the natural nature of Saturn. So that is why Saturn becomes debilitated here. That Saturn, which is a planet of crude practicality, is facing immaturity here. If you are immature, you cannot be practical. Second thing, it is impulsiveness. There is high impulsiveness, stubbornness and inflexibility in Aries, which Saturn does not support at all. So that is why, even though there are some good qualities of Aries which are suitable for Saturn, but still Saturn faces a lot of difficulty in the sign of Aries, due to which it is not able to exhibit its quite good qualities which it controls. Okay, and another reason is that Mars and Saturn are natural enemies of each other. So this is the major reason why Saturn becomes debilitated here. So now let's talk about what are the results of Saturn in Aries. So first of all, Saturn is debilitated here, but if let's suppose there is Neech Bhanga Raj Yoga in the chart, means cancellation of debilitation is there of Saturn, or Saturn gets support from Mars, then good results can be expected, of course. Means now Saturn is not going to give bad results. It will have full capability to generate good results and in the life of the person, but they will be there after certain delay, some struggle and hard labor. Means person will have to work for them, but at the end Saturn will give them good results, of course. If there are other good yogas in the chart, then the reduction in struggle will also be there. Okay, so let's suppose the Bhagya Bhav, means the 9th house or Jupiter is quite strong, the Lagna Lord or Moon are well placed, it means the struggle will also be reduced then. So the amount of delay, struggle and hard labor will also be reduced, and now the Saturn will give much more beneficial results in life. So what kind of results we can expect here? We are going to discuss two scenarios here. First of all, what happens when Saturn is placed in this sign and it is in Nij Bhanga Raj Yoga, or it is getting full support from Mars, and Moon is well placed in the chart, what happens then? And the second scenario is that if Saturn is totally debilitated here, receiving no Nij Bhanga and no support from Mars, and at the same time Moon is also badly placed in the chart, then what kind of results we can expect? We are going to see both these scenarios. So first scenario is that if Mars supports Saturn in the chart and if Moon and Lagna Lord are well placed, then it makes person quite practical in nature, because Mars and Saturn are in this manner, or what you can say, in this perspective, they are alike. They both support practicality, they both support scientific and logical temper. So that is why if Mars supports Saturn here and Moon and Lagna Lord are favorably placed in the chart, then it makes person quite practical, realistic, logical and scientific in temper. Then it also makes person quite rational in approach, skeptical in approach, and there will be person will be quite action and goal oriented, career oriented, more focused on performing action. And it also imparts dedication, strong willpower and persistent approach in person, that the person will have such kind of willpower, such kind of dedication, that he or she is not going to back down easily. No matter how much failures they say in life, they are going to work towards it, and until and unless they achieve their goal. So that kind of positive trait, that kind of fighting spirit, competitive spirit is going to be there if Saturn is well placed here. It gets the support from Mars. It also makes person quite patient in approach. The previous thing which I have talked about, that Aries is a sign of impulsiveness. Here impulsiveness won't be there, means aggression will be there. There is a difference between anger and aggression. Anger is always bad, but aggression can be positive also. If you are utilizing your aggression in a positive manner, means you are going to channelize that energy in correct direction and in a positive direction, that no matter what, I am not going to give up. That kind of approach, that kind of competitive and fighting spirit can be seen here and given by Saturn in this sign. Second thing is that it also makes person quite disciplined and organized in nature. Okay, it imparts maturity, responsibility and seriousness in behavior as well. Rather also, it also makes person quite straightforward and bold in approach, dominant in approach. It gives adventurous attitude, risk taking capability. It enhances the stamina and energy of the person. You have to see the other combinations in the chart, but it gives this, that stamina will be high, energy will be high, and person, no matter what, they are going to do the task despite difficulties. And although there could be some kind of procrastination, but that won't hinder or come in the way of their goals. So these kind of all positive aspects can be seen here and given by Saturn if it is debilitated. But only condition is that Mars should be well placed in the chart. If it is not well placed in the chart, then Saturn is unable to give these kind of qualities, and you have to see other yogas, of course. So I am talking about all the possible what you can say permutations and combinations, all the things possible which Saturn can give here. The intensity and the quantity of results will vary from person to person, of course. Okay, next thing here is that if there are strong spiritual yogas in the chart and Mars is well placed, then this particular placement of Saturn is very auspicious for doing Raj Yoga, Kriya Yoga, following Karma Yoga, and also getting into any kind of tantric practices as well. So for that you have to check the other combinations. But if Saturn is well placed here, specifically in the nakshatra of Ashwini, it quite favors here. But you have to see other combinations, not just like that Saturn is placed in Ashwini and you can do this. You have to see other combinations also, whether the person has inclination or not. For that you have to see the Lagna Lord, the Moon, the placement of Jupiter. Then we can say that yes, Saturn will help the person in following the path towards spirituality. After this, if we talk about some career profiles, and Saturn is responsible for career here, this placement is very good for doing any kind of scientific and technological work. getting into any kind of scientific and technological sector, it is very suitable and highly auspicious for this. We can see scientists with this, researchers with this, any type of engineering can be seen with this, any type of the engineering which exists throughout the world can be seen with this. It is good for getting into manufacturing, industrial sector. It could be heavy industries, small industries, medium scale industries, it could be any industrial sector, but it is good for working in industrial and production sector. It is good for associating with energy sector also. Then Mars and Saturn very favorable for real estate, construction, transportation, iron, steel, coal, gas, oil, mining, agriculture, law, judiciary, police, defense services, or insurance sector. Very good for HR, very good for medicine, healthcare, fitness, and any kind of work which requires a lot of labor, which requires a lot of physical labor most of the times, or which requires mental labor. For that you have to see Mercury placement, but mainly any kind of work which requires a lot of physical labor can be seen with this. Then it is good for sports also. Saturn debilitated, even though let's suppose the Neech Bhang of Saturn is not happening, still it is very favorable for being in healthcare, medicine, healthcare and medicine and fitness sector. Then it is good for associating with certain fields like philosophy, history, geology, archaeology. We can see yogis and monks and tantrics with this particular alignment of Saturn. So these are all the career fields which Saturn is favorable for if it is placed in the sign of Aries. Now let's discuss the second case, where if Saturn is in the sign of Aries but it is not undergoing any Neech Bhanga Raj Yoga, means there is no cancellation of debilitation of Saturn, or Saturn has no support from Mars, or Mars, Moon, Lagna Lord and Saturn are badly placed, getting weak or getting afflicted in the chart, then what happens is that Saturn loses all the strength and it becomes a strong malefic in the chart. But you have to see the lordship, where what houses it is controlling. So the houses which it is controlling, it is going to give negative results regarding those houses mainly. Okay, so let's suppose it is controlling the 10th house, so it is going to create more difficulties in the aspect of career. If it is controlling the 5th house, then education and children and relationships, it is going to create difficulties there. So you have to see the lordship of the house where Saturn is controlling mainly, and depending on that, if Saturn is badly placed in the chart, not receiving any support from Mars, Moon and Lagna Lord, then it will lose all the strength and it will become a strong malefic, and it will have full capability to give more delay, struggles, sorrow, misery and grief in life. It will become a planet which will have full capability to generate suffering in life. So I am not telling you this to instill fear in you. So you shouldn't be afraid of this. The thing here is that all the things which I am going to tell you now, you have to take it as a source of information. That's it. Because we are discussing only the possibility and all wide diverse results possible when Saturn is placed in the sign of Aries. We don't know what kind of yoga Saturn is making in the chart, in which nakshatra it is sitting, where Mars is placed, how Moon and Lagna Lord are placed, what kind of yoga Saturn is making, what kind of placement Saturn is there in other divisional charts, what kind of dasha is going on. We don't know these things. What I am discussing here is that one planet sitting in one zodiac sign and all possible results, positive and negative both, which it has capability to give depending upon the combinations in the chart. So all the things which you have discussed and what we are going to discuss now specifically, because they are negative and people get easily afraid of these. So don't get afraid, and this is a warning. Take this as a source of information only. Don't directly jump to conclusions, because those are just going to create more problems for you. Only thing is, you have to see the entire chart completely, then you have to arrive at conclusions. This you have to take it as a source of information. So let's take the second scenario here. If Saturn is badly placed, and one more thing, all the results, negative results which we are going to discuss now, all the negative results are not going to be seen in one person's life. their intensity and their what you can say quantity is going to be different and varied from person to person. It will vary from person to person depending upon the yogas, depending upon that how many planets are badly placed. The more situation is going to be on a downside in the chart, the more negative intensity will increase, the more negative results can be expected, but the less it will be, so less negative results can be expected. So that is why you have to see in that context. So let's talk about the negative results which Saturn can give here if it is in a negative situation, and this will be of course highly vulnerable situation for Saturn. So the thing here is that it gives tremendous struggle, delay, and sometimes no results in life even after hard work due to misdirection and confusion. The thing here is that, let's suppose a person is working for something in their life. Let's suppose a person is working for getting into a job of teaching, and but the horoscope shows that teaching is not going to be the career is going to be in management. So person is not working for the management sector, rather he is working entirely on teaching, and he faces difficulties of not getting the jobs in the teaching sector. So he wastes a lot of time and energy upon that. So this means that Saturn is creating misdirection and confusion by taking the person in that kind of field which is not suitable for him or her. So this delay, struggle can also be there because and hard work also does not even pay off because of misdirection and confusion created by Saturn in life. It also gives too much lethargy in the body, and it will reduce the willpower, stamina and energy and intention to do any work also in life. Okay, the previously you can see the result is totally different from the position where Saturn is getting the support of Mars. If Saturn is getting the support of Mars, it will make person strong in willpower, stamina and energy. Person will be workaholic in nature, person will work tremendously hard and will never back down, will be full of energy. But here the situation is completely opposite in nature. That person has too much lethargy, no willpower at all, stamina is very poor, energy is very low, and there is not even a single intention to do any work in life. They want free results, that I am sitting alone, I just want to want the money and pleasures and luxuries in my life to automatically come without doing any single work. That kind of mentality can be seen here. But for this, again I am repeating, you have to see all the combinations, specifically the placement of moon and Lagna Lord. Do not jump to conclusions. Second thing here is that it also has full capability to make person quite impractical in nature, enhances the anger, makes enhances anger, aggression, impulsiveness, impatience, immaturity, carelessness, irresponsibility. And it also has capability, depending on the yogas, again depending on the yogas, it has capability to what you can say to make the person indulge in any kind of corrupt, unethical and illegal activities whatsoever they may be. But it has full capability to make the person get into or indulge in such kind of activities. For what? For easy fulfillment of desires, means attainment of desires through shortcuts, not going the long way or the ethical way. This can be seen here. Also it generates quite negative characteristics and traits in personality. It has full capability to do that. Specifically if Rahu is giving that kind of influence, it enhances even more. Means it can make person deceitful, also in nature, gives ingratitude, can make person dishonest, manipulative, jealous, shrewd, cruel, cunning in nature. We have such kind of people in our society, so we cannot deny their existence. So the thing here is that if such people exist in the society, there must be a logical, astrological reason behind that, and we are understanding that only. And that is why I am again insisting, don't jump to conclusions. Simply your Saturn is placed here, this does not mean that it is going to give such kind of results until and unless combinations allow. If combinations allow, it will give. If it does not, it won't. You have to see other things as well. Next thing here is that it can also have the capability to give bad relations with siblings, mainly brothers and father. Then it enhances the Shad Ripu in the body. Shad Ripu means the 6 enemies of man. They are lust, greed, anger, attachment, ego and jealousy. Okay, so they are going to enhance in the body of the person. It also has capability to generate high career instability, financial instability, financial crisis and even poverty, if it is controlling such kind of houses and making yogas for that. Then it can bring any kind of long term litigation, court cases, or can show any kind of separation in life with some person or some assets or some any things, some anything, separation from anything can be seen with this particular Saturn placement. Then it also has the capability to bring any kind of what you can say health issues, mainly related to bones, mental health disorders like depression, anxiety, phobia, paranoia, any kind of mental disorders can be seen with this, or even neurological problems like paralysis can also be seen. Saturn is a controller of that, means it is a giver of that. So that, or any kind of incurable diseases can also be seen with this. Addictions can be seen with this. You have to see other combinations for this, but if there are other combinations, Saturn is in such a kind of situation, it will have capability. That is what I am telling you right now. Okay, so this is the negative aspect, and which is definitely quite negative, but you have to see, remember again that the intensity will vary, the quantity will vary. All the results won't happen in one person's life, in rare cases of course, but yes, mostly there will be a mixture. So you have to see how the other combinations are happening, because there are more planets more important than Saturn. That is why I am insisting on the placement of other planets in the chart. Okay, so I have explained you the scenario and all the permutations and combinations possible of Saturn's results in the sign of Aries. We have discussed both the positive aspect as well as the negative aspect. So I think that you would have by now have a clear understanding of Saturn in the sign of Aries, how it performs and gives the results. So if you are new to my channel, subscribe below. For more, check on my website and Facebook page. Otherwise, we will meet in the next video. Till then, goodbye and thank you.